Right, right. Well, I mean, shit, Allen Robinson then to get where Michael was just kind of left off on, dude. Allen Robinson, he's a guy. I think he's a guy that's a free that he let me down in fantasy pretty good this year. I actually drafted him over Chris Godwin because the past few years, dude's been getting all kinds of work, and then now all of a sudden, he didn't do shit when they got Justin Fields. So I think he's a guy that wants to get some production. He's been paid, so I don't know if he's really chasing money. I think he's chasing some volume and some targets just to kind of regain his name a little bit because his name took a hit this year. They had Mooney take over as the Chicago leading receiver, so I think Allen Robinson. The other I have the Lions and then the Jaguars, and then the other neat team I have is the Colts. Maybe go pair him with Pittman, but either way, a places where he's gonna be used a lot, and that's what he's looking to do is get some volume to get his name back up. So I don't think he's gonna sign like a long term deal, but I can see him doing like a 2 or 3 year deal in one of those places. I could see, if Cooper obviously goes to the Lions, then they're going to be out. A reunion with Jacksonville to get Trevor Lawrence a guy because they need to get him somebody out there that they can really rely on, in Jacksonville. So I could see them, and then even the Colts. Besides Pittman, they didn't really have. They have T.Y. Hilton and Zach Pascal and some of these guys. They got some money to spend too, so I can see them potentially making a move for him. Another team I have actually written down is the Patriots, but they only have about 8 million in cap space, so I don't know if they're going to be able to afford him. And they're pretty high on Jacoby Myers, or they're going to extend him. So I don't know if they're going to be in the free agent market. But yeah, Allen Robinson, man, I could see if he does wind up for like the Jags, dude. Trevor Lawrence and him could be a nice little combination down there.
Yeah.
Hey, since Michael already gave his take on Allen, I'll go second on this one. Do you guys know what his numbers were in 2020? Dude had 120 receptions, 1250, and he had I got 6 touchdowns, right? So there was questions this year if he was phased out of the offense. I don't know if he was at odds with people. He doesn't really look like a combative guy. He looks like more of a quiet guy that just gets more quiet, and some people don't respond to that well. And Nagy looks like, I don't know Nagy, but you guys already called it as far as Jacksonville. I figured that if Washington was willing to put in a new field, they could potentially trade for Jimmy Garoppolo, and with doing that, sign a guy like Allen Robinson to pair with Scary Terry. Like, all that stuff is that intermediate, big target, all the stuff Jimmy thrives in. And that's just playing, hypothetical land. I thought that'd be a cool spot that he would get paid too. They got money. And then I got one more. I put down the Jets. And that's just piggybacking off what you said, Brian, more of the volume take that you had, right? Like, if he's going to go somewhere and they're like, hey, man, dude, we just need a guy and they have options. They have other guys there, but I think adding a guy like Allen Robinson, it's another bad situation. But at the end of the day, this is starting to be the theme of Allen's career. Like, he just, hey, go be a one on a bad team, homie, and he gets paid. Like, all those teams can pay him. So I think he's a guy that's he's gonna get money. He's not gonna take a pay cut to go anywhere. If that's the case, then the Chiefs aren't even that bad in cap space. Take a $5 million deal and go there then. Dude. Like that would be fucking lethal. But that's my take on Allen. He's a productive guy. He had 2 seasons where he went over 1,100 yards. And that shows you right there. But I believe. That's
Dude,
pretty
that's
much
a
it.
good one. You kind of just blew my mind. My bad, Mike. I'm gonna let you get going right now. But dude, him on the Chiefs, woof. If he's smart, that might be just a 1 year, real quick, just to get your name back up, dude. That might be that'd be pretty nasty. But what you got, Mike? Allen Robinson? What do you think?
I think he goes back to the Jags. I mean, I've already said it. They're looking for a number one. I think they have the money. He's familiar down there. I like Brian said. I think it was Brian said. He's used to playing on bad teams, man, and he's used to being that guy, I guess. I mean, he started in Jacksonville. I mean, he was far and beyond the best receiver on that team. you know, they have some other options like Laviska Shenault. I forget the guy who just tore his ACL this year. He's not a bad receiver down there.
DJ Chark.
DJ Chark.
He's actually he's a free agent. I heard some Vegas rumors.
Okay, yeah, and then you know, and they have Travis Etienne, who they're probably going to use as a scat back, and him and James Robinson on the field, so he'll draw targets. But they have the money. They have a need for a true number one receiver. DJ Chark's truly if he's truly a free agent, then, you know, I think obviously Allen Robinson is an upgrade over him, even though he's older. He's a better receiver. He's a better receiver. But, you know, who knows? It's a different coach down there. Doug Peterson's going to be going out there. He's going to look to draft some guys. I promise you he will, probably top of the second. He'll go offense again. I do think they need some help on the defensive line, so they're going to go with a Hutchinson or Thibodeau, somewhere like that, if they hold on to the number one pick. But Robinson going down there would be a smart pick. You know, you could throw out all these other teams. I mean, I don't know about Casspace in Baltimore. Baltimore needs a receiver. I mean, he seems like he could be a fit there. You know, Detroit, you mentioned Detroit. They could use another receiver. There's a whole bunch of them, man. And we can keep going down the line. But to me, the fit just makes sense down in Jacksonville. To me, it does.
If he does go to Jacksonville, what do you think? Like, as far as fantasy wise, you think? Because I think he's pretty good down there. Actually, I don't know. Obviously, not super high, but I think he'd be a wide receiver too, a flex guy. He's a guy you'd almost have to put in your lineup because I think he's going to get the volume down there.
Yeah, so we have a minute and a half, just so you guys know. And then, you know, I do think that his fantasy, I could see him as a low-end wide receiver too. I could see that. You know, he could probably be drawing 10 targets, you know, on a good week and converting 6 or 7 of those for a catch, you know, 70 yards. I don't really see him being Jacksonville from, you know, 2015, Allen Robinson. I don't see that. But
Trevor Lawrence takes that next step.
He could. So I would draft him if we're talking about ADP. He's not going to go in the third round, fourth round like he did last year. You're looking at, you know, trying to draft a guy. He's going to be a number one receiver. So you're going to be looking at like round 7, round 8, you know, around that middle of the pack. And he has a lot of upside. I mean, you see what he can do. Like Josh mentioned, he had 120 receptions in 2020. You see what he can do. Will he do that? I mean, that might be his absolute ceiling. And if you get that out of a 7th round draft pick in fantasy, I mean, you're like a Debo. I mean, you're screaming to the heavens on that. So